Hi there, and welcome back to the sewing chapter. Today we're going to talk about the hardest part about learning to sew. At least this is what I think was the hardest part about learning to sew. And what it is might surprise you. So stick around to find out what it is, and I've got some advice for you about how to deal with that. Real quick, if you're enjoying the sewing chapter, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you here more often. The hardest part about getting started with sewing for me was, drumroll please, opening the box. Yes, that's right. My sewing machine, ordered through Amazon, sat inside a box in my living room for about 2 weeks before I got the pluck to open that box up and pull the machine out. And I know I'm not alone in this. I've heard this story again and again from people who are interested in sewing. An interest is sparked, an order is made, a box is delivered, and the box sits. Today, I want to talk to you if you feel overwhelmed by the idea of taking that machine out of the box and getting started with it. You're not alone. I was there, and I had sewn as a child. So I had used a sewing machine before, but I was still intimidated and for some reason just put off opening that box. There always seemed to be something more important to do. But really, deep down, I think I was a little hesitant to get started because it seemed overwhelming. But the truth is, while that machine sat for 2 weeks in the corner of my living room, it took less than 5 minutes to pull the machine out of the box, plug the power cord into the machine and into the wall, and hook up the foot pedal. And that's really the biggest, hardest step mentally, I think. Because once you do that, you've committed. There's a part of you that is psychologically committed. You plugged it in. You're going to turn it on, and it's time to explore. So first of all, open the box. Open that cardboard box. Pull the machine out. Set it down on your table. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. Promise. So what do? Let's get to the point where you're maybe sitting at your kitchen table with your new sewing machine and you figured out how to plug in the foot pedal, you figured out how to plug in the power cord, and now what do you do first? Well, first of all, I encourage you to get really friendly and comfortable with the instruction manual that comes with your machine. Even keep this by your bed for a while. Okay, I definitely have read this before bed. Get really comfortable flipping through it. Don't feel like you have to read it from front cover to the back cover. I recommend looking at that table of contents, spending a lot of time there, and just familiarizing yourself with the major categories. Like, it's going to give you some safety instructions. It's going to give you the basics of setting it up. And that's where you're going to spend your time, probably to begin with. But then maybe there's something you're just curious about that you're going to do down the road. Maybe you're like, well, I'm wondering what it looks like to sew a button. You could just find the section on sewing a button, go to that section, read about sewing the button. Doesn't mean you have to do it right away, but start getting your brain used to the steps and kind of look at the pictures and just get used to it. I keep this right next to right underneath my sewing machine in a little kind of pull-out drawer I have, and I use it all the time. It's well used. You could tell, you can see the wrinkles, or crinkles. And so, and it's not as long as it looks because half of it's in a different language. Okay, half of it's in English probably, and half of it's, probably in Spanish. So just think it's not even that long. It's easy. Another recommendation I have is if you feel overwhelmed, don't try to tackle everything at once. You're not going to learn to sew an elaborate ball gown overnight. You're going to want to break down learning the machine and getting familiar with the machine into manageable, comfortable steps. Maybe day one is just plugging in the machine and plugging in the foot pedal. That's fine. But then I encourage you the next day, go ahead and maybe learn the basic parts of the machine. Maybe commit to that. Maybe open up your instruction manual, open up to the section about the parts of the machine. There'll probably be an illustration with some, parts of the machine being pointed out. Familiarize yourself with what the knobs are called, what they do, the little toggle things, little switches. familiarize yourself with the parts of the sewing machine. Next time you sit down at the sewing machine, maybe your goal would be to learn how to thread the bobbin. And if you're not familiar with the bobbin, I'll show you what it is. Oh, this is a bobbin. Yeah, and this is where part of the thread that is going to go into your future projects is going to be threaded. You don't have to thread it by hand. The machine has a wonderful function that makes it so easy to do this. And it's just a matter of practicing threading the thread through the certain little pathway, getting it ready to wind, and then usually you're going to be pushing this over and pressing down the foot pedal. That could be a whole, lesson for you. So really, you don't have to tackle this all at once. What I think you'll find is as you set these smaller, more manageable goals for yourself, that you'll be sewing before you even know it. All of a sudden, you'll wake up and one day you'll know how to sew. And it really does happen. It really will happen if you just keep learning. So not only do you have a manual though, we are in the year 2025 as I'm recording this video, and there are so many wonderful YouTube videos about sewing and sewing machines. And that's how I learned a lot. 90% of what I have learned in the year and a half that I've been sewing has been from online educators. So don't underestimate the power of that resource. When I first sewed, when I was a child, that resource did not exist, and I was learning from books, and it was a lot harder. But I do recommend, don't be afraid of your manual. As many videos as there are online, the manual is also a wonderful, wonderful resource, and it is specific to your sewing machine. So get comfortable with the manual. So that first day, I'll continue my little story about my experience. I did plug in my sewing machine, and then I started familiarizing myself with how to thread the machine. And once I got the machine threaded and remembered, how to do that and got comfortable with the whole process, my sewing really took off from there. I ended up really getting into sewing clothes, and I now have a closet that's probably 25% self-made clothing. And I've been sewing for, like I said, just about a year and a half. So yeah, don't underestimate how quickly that you'll be able to acquire the skills that you are interested in learning. But you have to take the machine out of the box. That is the first step. If you don't take the machine out of the box, then the process cannot start. So I hope in this video that I've managed to reassure you that opening the box isn't as scary as it feels and that it's totally worth it. So you should do it right now. Stay tuned to the sewing chapter. I do plan to post some tutorials about getting started with your sewing machine. So I'll have those coming hopefully soon. Till next time, take care and have fun sewing. Bye. You'll see your foot pedal wrapped up in a little bag. Take that out, plug one end into the machine, the other end into the wall, and that's your power. And then just go ahead and plug in. Oh, what am I talking about? That's not your power.